Welcome to Final Whistle. Once again, I'm Spencer Darlington. Now, 32 teams have entered the World Cup, but only one team will be called the champion. We are in the round of 16 at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. And so far, the Netherlands, France, England, and Argentina are through to the quarterfinals. The last 8 will produce several intriguing matchups. France versus England on a Saturday, and the Netherlands up against Argentina on Friday. Those are some of the most compelling head-to-head matchups that will take place. The 8 teams that survive the round of 16 will play in the quarterfinals on Friday, December 9 and Saturday, December 10. Now, at that point, all 8 teams will be just 3 wins away from hoisting the World Cup trophy. Coach and technical director at Humberland, Andrew Price, is very much here with us once again. So too, former reggae girl, Sharona Forrester. And they have been here from the get-go. So too, FC Cincinnati's coach, Shavar Thomas. And technical director of Campion College, Eric Rademacher. And we'll be joined on Zoom by our junior analyst from the last World Cup, and he's back with us, Liam Henriquez. But before we get into the discussion about what we have seen so far, specifically the 2 matches today, let's join the Maverick, who is on the go.
Check, you can't hear me. All right. So, the Maverick on the go. Guess what? Me left the scooter today, you know. Yeah, man, me find a prestige bicycle. And you know what I mean? People, guess where the streets carry the Maverick go today? The Maverick is on the go, you know. Always on the go, you know. Yeah, we're in the middle of Alman Town. Yeah, we have one street named Anna Street. Yeah, right now the heart of Central Kingston. And guess what? Of course, the people of are very friendly and accommodating to the Maverick and the entire TVJ crew. But you don't know, we're there now to find the watch party and the mini stadium. And we did find that just in time. Hold on, we can shut off the bicycle. All right, so we are going to the mini stadium now and show you what going on with the watch party. See it, you know? See the flag them there, you know? Yeah, see the seating capacity right there. The seating capacity look like about 20. Yeah, but you know, so anyway, the people them there, the Maverick, find them. Yeah, we have some fans in the place, you know. We have a coach. This is the coach for the football team in Alman Woodford football coach. Yeah. One coach, all the World Cup so far.
Right, looking good, you know, Carl. The big side them I got through, you know. Yeah. And the bigger the side them is, the nicer the football is.
Yeah. Yeah. As a coach, though, and a man will like the technical aspect of football. What is about the standard of ball we are playing in the World Cup here?
Yeah, the standard of football right now, I love it. It's high. Yeah, especially I love how France are playing too, you know. Brazil are my team, you know. Yeah. To death and to the end, but I love how France are playing. We wish a final will meet them in a still. I get a good fan, I carry feelings to them, you know. 2 times and beat us straight in the World Cup, you know. 1 3 love and 1 love, I never forget it.
Why you say fresh to your mind? Yeah. Zidane them, eh?
Yeah, man, I went Henry lift up one of the roof of my net, man. Yeah, man.
As a Brazilian, we have to fix it this year. All right, see you next month. Show them the flag, my boss. Show them the flag. Yeah, represent. Him there the front seat in the ministerium, you know. You see me I say? Yeah, what go on, General? What you say?
You don't know, say Brazil all the way. We are going to take the cup of here, yeah. Straight. No matter how strong France is. Brazil, all the way.
We see I want up this so we have a France flag. But my hide from the camera. Big boss, what you say about your team? What you say?
Big side.
And the Maverick on the go, you know. Yeah, we tell you where we're there, you know. We say, anywhere there. This is the mummy of the ministry, the mummy. Nice, welcome to TVJ. You're live on Final Whistle, you know. Is which flag? You know which flag this is? What?
Oh, this is you call it Brazil flag.
Oh, so you're a Brazil supporter?
Yes.
All right.
Argentina also.
You love Argentina too?
Yes.
No, you can't love it two of them. Pick one.
Well, I pick Brazil.
Ah, smart choice. Pick up yourself, mommy. You see it at the Maverick on the go. Take a good look on the mini stadium, you know. See, we have some nice palm tree inside of the mini stadium. So, on the street, you know. Yeah, heart of Central Kingston, but you don't know. It's the Lakeshore. Them call the corner Lakeshore. Yeah, I don't know Gully, I don't know Lake Shore. Both in name, you know. It's the Maverick on the go. We are going back out up on the bicycle now. Yeah. You hear them say, hey, which side of your team? It sound like a little Portuguese man over the side. But it's the Maverick on the go. The Maverick on the go. What my bicycle at? What my bicycle at? Them team my bicycle. Them team the Maverick bicycle. What? Them team my bicycle. No. Oh, somebody just got pull up.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Maverick. So we saw two games on the day, and the very last game is where we're going to start the discussion. England versus Senegal, and England won by 3-0. Goals by Jordan Henderson in the 38th minute. Harry Kane on the stroke of half-time, 3 minutes into added time, and then Bukayo Saka in the 57th. England had 61% of the possession, and Senegal 39%. Now, Andrew, let me start with you. The African teams, again, disappointing campaign apart from Morocco, who are into the round of 16. But Senegal, we're talking about the African champions. If you're to use this as some sort of measurement as to the standard or any gap, because you are one of the coaches or experts, Andrew, who think the gap has certainly narrowed between what we would call big teams, heavyweight teams, and the smaller teams. But again, for another World Cup, as I've said, the African teams, and Senegal, the champions, they looked naive at times today. They looked confused. Their defense went to pieces at times, and we really saw some lovely goals in the contest. They were really outplayed by England.
Yes, quality. And, you know, like I said, once you have superior quality, you're going to see it. I don't think we should be too hard on the African teams. I mean, Senegal, without Mane, qualified out of their group and went into the round of 16. But they came up against a better team, a better quality team, a better coach team. And, you know, the result wasn't flattering, but, you know, they proceeded. One of the things that you have to understand is that though the gap is closing, the talented teams will show up at the World Cup, and that's what happened today. England, Southgate always had a problem selecting the team, and he selected the right team today. He played people in the positions where they would excel, and they excelled. When you look at Saka, he didn't play the last game. He brought him in back. He scored again today. Foden started. He supplied 2 goals. There was just a lot of quality on the field. Bellingham had a wonderful game. Henderson quietly did his work. I mean, the England team looked very good, and I'm looking forward to that mouth-watering quarterfinal clash between France and England. It's going to be a humdinger.
Yeah, and that is going to be on Saturday, the first World Cup meeting between these two nations since 1982. Andrew, you spoke about Gareth Southgate, England manager, starting the right team, but quite a few persons were surprised that Rashford didn't get into this 11 based on how he executed against Wales in their last game.
Yes, but what you have to understand also is that he has options. In the first game that they played where they hammered Costa Rica, Saka had a good game. He also had a good game in the second game. So he's using the players that he trusts. He trusts Henderson a lot. People question why he continues to use Maguire. Maguire played a good game so far. I mean, he's doing well. Hasn't made a mistake yet. Let's knock wood on that. But he has some lieutenants that he trusts. People like Kane. Kane hasn't scored a goal until he scored today. He persists with him. Right now, Kane is in the twilight of his career. He's playing more of a number 10 role more than a striker role at number 9. So he's utilizing what he has to the best effect. He has brought back Walker, didn't start at the beginning, and he's really looking at the right combination. And I think he got it right today.
Yeah, Iran, it was who England hammered in their first game. Shavar, based on what we saw today, England looked like a team which is rounding into form, which again, I keep saying is what you want to see at this stage. They're playing some good-looking football now.
No, most definitely. And you can see them shaping up. The coach did a good job today, as Coach Andrew said. Even game for me, up to 35 minutes in it. And then, you know, naivety sets in with the Senegalese team. A lot of individual technical mistake in terms of playing out at the back from the defenders, especially the captain Koulibaly. I think 2 of the goals, it was a bad pass, got picked off. You know, England did a good job in finishing, and after that, it was domination.
Yeah, Sharona, even though England have been faced with some amount of injury problems, Southgate has a lot of options at his disposal, just like Brazil and other teams, especially in the attacking department.
Most definitely. I think their front line, most of them score each game, and that's what you want. You want your forwards to be firing, and the kind of headache he's having is the one that most coaches would ask for.
Yeah. Eric, Sharona just made a good point. You know, what you want to see is not a team being dependent or overly dependent on one player. When you have someone like a Jordan Henderson scoring today, Kane has scored for the first time at this World Cup. Saka has scored. Bellingham has looked awesome. They're getting goals from all around the park, which is very dangerous for their opponents in waiting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, once you score goals, you're dangerous. You know, France might have the other way around where they have Mbappe really banging in goals, and you can't argue that that's not a dangerous, version to go into. But it's great to see, especially when you have a lot of players that you're rotating, that everybody gets a goal. Because as a player like even Rashford, who doesn't start, he's going to look at the lineup and he's going to see players that either score or give an assist. And at that point, you're more able as a bench player to say, all right, even though I played good, I'm going to keep pushing hard. I just have to be even better than what I already was. And that competitive spirit in a team is great to have when you're in a tournament where you have to step up gradually as you go further.
Liam, Raheem Sterling was not available for England today, and what we heard from over there is that he had some family issue to sort out back home, and we're trying to get a further update on the Raheem Sterling situation. But what you saw from England today, Liam, the coaching staff and their supporters must be happy now, given what they have done from day one, their first game, to now, which is what you want to see from a team, gradual improvement game by game, Liam.
No, yeah, they were great. Not the greatest start to the game. Senegal looked to be on the front foot in the first couple 20 minutes or so of the game, but England built into the game and ultimately dominated the game as a whole. But what they have to be, worried about is they were playing a Senegal side, yes, without the Mane and also without, Idrissa Gana Gueye, who was suspended, Kouyaté, who was injured. So this England team, yes, proud of a 3-0 victory in the round of 16 of the World Cup is always great. But they really have a lot to prepare for this France quarterfinal clash, and they can't get ahead of themselves and think too far ahead just yet.
Yeah. Andrew, let's look at some of the individual players for England. Harry Maguire not having a great season with Manchester United, but Southgate has so much confidence in Maguire around the back. And we saw Stones getting a little concerned about his hamstring. They took him off, which was a wise thing to do. But I've been very, very impressed with Jude Bellingham, a 19-year-old, and it is for this reason why so many of the heavyweight clubs around the world want Bellingham. By the time this World Cup is over, Andrew, his price tag may jump to closer to about £150 million.
Well, without a doubt. What we have to understand is that the World Cup is an audition. It's a shopping window for clubs. This is the best place for players to excel. And Bellingham has been having a wonderful World Cup. He doesn't look like a 19-year-old. He's very mature. He knows how to use the ball. He's strong. He's powerful. He can score. He can assist. He's just a real article. And if he continues in the same vein, I'm certain that maybe even Bayern Munich or Real Madrid will be looking for him. So a lot of these players are using the World Cup as a platform so that they can be seen, so that they can be attracted to other clubs. And Bellingham is doing a fine job.
All of them
two ways about that. Liverpool got a boost recently, earlier this week. I think it was the general manager of Borussia Dortmund who said he would like to sell Bellingham to Liverpool. But that being said, all the heavyweight teams are in the mix. I saw a report which said Man City are willing to part with Grealish to try and submit a bid for Bellingham. And Bellingham has been playing well this season before the World Cup. He hasn't just come to this World Cup and started to play well. He has been played higher up the park by Borussia Dortmund. That leaves people like Declan Rice and Henderson now to sit on top of the four defenders, which is a very, very good thing for England.
No, but he started the first game beside Declan Rice. So I think the coach, go back, watch tapes, see him in practice and say, okay, I think the best position right now for him in this team and to help this team is higher up the park, and it's working.
Yeah, and as I said, Eric, Harry Kane coming to the party now. Again, you want to see your top players getting that confidence, morale booster, especially at this stage of a tournament.
Yeah, at that point, especially when you play that different role, as Andrew was saying, and you don't score, you don't get that, what people are expecting. You might get a little frustrated or nervous and start doubt that new role that you have. But when you then get on the score sheet and you get that goal, with playing in that same particular way that he's been doing, with getting the ball, facing the play, turning, facing the play, and still give a pass. And still he gets a goal while playing that game. It's great for him to continue in and believing in the system and the playing style that they're doing right now.
Yeah. So we're looking at the second game on the day. We're going to tell you about the first match, but the second game where England defeated Senegal, the African champions, by 3-0. When we come back from the break, we'll continue the discussions, of course. Welcome back to Final Whistle, and the 19-year-old from England, Jude Bellingham, is playing so well at the World Cup. And before, there are loads of discussion now as to which team he will end up at in the summer. Shavar thinks he may go to Bayern Munich because of the good relationship between Bayern and Borussia Dortmund. I think Man City will be very much in the mix. What about the idea of using an Erling Haaland to convince him to come over to City?
That's not enough.
Oh.
The relationship between Dortmund and Bayern Munich is really stronger than that. But I mean, it's football. He could go anywhere because there's a lot of money in football these days. So players have the luxury to go anywhere they want to go.
Yeah, even though, you know, Andrew and Eric and Liam and Sharona, some experts will say it is dangerous to just look at the World Cup and buy players from an outstanding campaign at the World Cup. James Rodriguez and quite a few others haven't really carried on from the World Cup. But in Bellingham's case, I think the difference, he has been playing well leading into this World Cup, Andrew.
And he's 19 years
Yes.
old. That is what you have to look at. You have to look at the longevity that he will give you once you make that signing, how long he will be at your club. And he's having a wonderful World Cup. Let us hope he continues and plays an exciting game against the French.
Yeah, Eric, the English now are oozing with confidence. Just how far can they go? Because this titanic match coming up against France, wow, that's mouth-watering, Eric.
Yeah, it's a great matchup, and from here, it's really, there's no real favorite, I think, anymore. You have light favorites, you know, who have the better form, who have the less injuries or suspensions going on. What I like about England, why I would give them more chances that I would have given them in that matchup from before the World Cup, is I think the midfield is working. I think with Mount, there was still some, you know, things that were not really working defensively and in attack. And I think, as Shavar was saying, they figured out that Bellingham is playing great and he plays better higher up. And then Henderson comes in with the experience as well going into big matches. So I think that works good for them in the midfield. You know, it's going to be guessing which forward has the right form and shape on the day to really.
There will be a good
difficult.
challenge for France.
But there's going to be a great challenge.
Good contender. No, but they won't be France. Right now, France is the coach has found his team. For me, France and Spain is the two teams so far that, as you know, the coach, you can see that coach found his starting 11.
You don't think England can beat France?
No. Spence, you know what it is? When Mbappe going up against Maguire
He's unstoppable.
and Shaw, it's going to be a different pressure on Maguire and on that back
Yeah,
line.
and they haven't
Stone's
Yeah,
been doing great.
England backline haven't been really tested.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yes.
to be fair.
And they're going up against, I think, the ones that has been pressuring the most on the defensive line.
Proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
Andrew doesn't seem to agree with you too. You know,
No, what I'm saying, France has a very potent offense, and we see the type of form that Mbappe is in. I'm just saying, this is the
And Dembele been killing
quarterfinals
players from
of
the first
World
match.
Cup.
You know.
We can't count our chickens before they have hatched their eggs.
I think they're
Let
going
us
home.
watch the game
That's all I'm
and decide
saying.
what is going to happen. Because let me tell you something, this World Cup has many turns and spins as we have seen, and it's now coming to the business end of the tournament. It's going to be a humdinger of a game. I believe that France has enough quality to win the game, but don't
Who's
think-
more battle tested?
I would say if anybody is more battle tested, I would say that England is more battle tested.
No.
France hasn't played anybody really, to be quite honest. Let's look at the games that they have played. They haven't played anybody.
They're the defending champion.
Yeah, but they haven't played anybody.
has the French
This World
defense? So you're saying their defense hasn't really been tested yet, Andrew?
The same thing that you can say about England, you can say about
Same for
France. And
France.
that is why the game is so intriguing. The X factor, let us admit it, is Mbappe.
Look,
No.
hold on there. The Polish coach said after the game, Mbappe, when he's playing in this form, he's unstoppable. You need two defenders to give him the attention. What if he comes and produces an off day? But the way he's looking now, he's saying he's enjoying this World Cup. And by the way, Mbappe said during the first round, the group stages, he did not do any media interviews because he wanted to focus so much on his football and the World Cup. And he said when he heard that the French Federation would have incurred a fine, he paid that fine personally. Tells you how focused he is, Eric?
Yeah, I like this version of Mbappe. I think he has been distracted over the last year or two with all these rumors at Madrid. And I remember the Mbappe that just came onto the scene the first 1 or 2 years. And I love the focus that he had on just improving and doing the right thing. And it's great to see when somebody's with that quality puts his focus on something, we see the result. It's amazing to watch him play.
Yeah, it's a little tricky to look back now, Sharon, and say if Sadio Mane was there, if or whether or not Senegal would have performed better. But given what they had and the captain Koulibaly leading, Mendy's there, those are two experienced campaigners who we saw looking quite shaky at times. And when you have that, can't that trigger a little bit of uncertainty and panic in the setup?
Well, the team, I think they did well even without Mane, you know, and I think they did the best they could and they started the game well, but then things fell apart. You're playing a quality team. When you make mistakes, you will be punished. And even when you look at that matchup between England and France, it is who will capitalize on some of these mistakes because it's going to be very tense, you know. People are going to be playing their best games, but that's one moment when there's a slip. Can you, you know, convert on maybe somebody miskicking or you get a half chance and you make it into magic? And that's what's going to be the deciding factor. It's not going to be easy for any one of those teams.
Yeah. Liam, how do you rate the overall campaign by the Senegalese, the African champions? What is it that they can take from this to build on going forward?
Well, you know, their team is obviously very young. They have a mix of experience, but they do have a lot of young players coming up. You know, between the 2018 World Cup and 2022 World Cup, we saw a load of players come into that team. But, you know, they were missing the Manes, specifically in this game against Kouyaté and Idrissa Gana Gueye. I just think they just, attacking wise, they just weren't there. You know, that's maybe where they missed their X factor in Mane. They just, like, even specifically today as well, it just wasn't there for them. They had the ball in the England half, and just were not, you know, decisive enough. Defensively, I thought they were pretty decent in the group stage. You know, holding down that Netherlands team as they did. But today they weren't. So they have a lot to, you know, work on, but a lot of talent, a lot of experience, and a lot to look forward for 2026 if everyone is fit again.
Yeah. How can the African teams, Liam, improve their level of discipline? Because we see them sometimes playing well for 30, 35 minutes, and after that, things starting to go all over the shop. How can they improve in that department, you think?
Well, I mean, every single African team, you know, it's not like they have like overload in the attack or overload in defense. So they have the talent is there. It's just, I guess, you know, where they set up, you know, tactically. I think Morocco have been fantastic, but like yes, Ghana as well. Like a Senegal, Ghana have, you know, been talent, you could see the talent is there for Ghana, but the discipline just wasn't there. So maybe set up, like a Asian team has, like Korea or Japan. When you're playing a team that is better than you, set up defensively and look to hit on the counter. Whereas the Africa teams, we like, as neutrals, we like to see how they play. We like to see, the going out and going for the game and trying to, attack. But overall, it's not really going to work for them. So maybe they should, take a note out of the Asian teams book.
Yeah, Andrew, Southgate has some options now. He has some choices to make. This huge game coming up against France, what sort of lineup do you think he's wrapping his mind around? Can Rashford force his way into the lineup, or as a coach, he would want to go with what he has seen so far, especially from today's performance?
I think based on today's performance, he'll possibly go with the same lineup, unless there are some niggling injuries that would prevent people from actually returning. I think he has the options of bringing people like Rashford off the bench. So I think he's very comfortable with his front three right now with Foden, Harry Kane and Saka. They are producing the goods and they're scoring. And I mean, the match, in my opinion, today was Foden. I think he had a wonderful game. He had 2 assists, and I think he played very well. So I believe that right now he's confident with the lineup that he has. I think he's very confident with his defensive line, with Shaw at right back, at left back, Shaw at left back, at right back he has Walker. I think he's very confident with Maguire and Stones also. But the real test will be against France. That's going to be the toughest game that they'll have all tournament, and let's see if they can come up trumps against them.
Yeah, and he has some depth in certain positions as well, which is what I like about them. What about the changes today? For example, Shavar, Foden and Saka coming off in the 65th minute and replaced by Rashford and Grealish, respectively.
Yeah, I mean, by then the game was out of reach. They were in control. So, I mean, why risk, the legs of those guys? Obviously, he's looking ahead already to bring guys in. And those guys that came in, Grealish, they were competent replacements. So, to finish the game. And he's looking ahead for the next game.
So look here now, Shavar, for all the talent that's available to Gareth Southgate, you just think France will pack too much power come Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, France with Giroud in that position. What France have shown today, they rested 9 to 10 players the last game.
Yes.
To have
right?
them fresh, to have them fresh.
To have them fresh, and they came back and
Fresh.
showed fresh, and they showed like, okay, this performance, very mature performance.
How do you see this one, Sharona? Because I think England can have a chance, should have a chance, or will have a chance.
A chance, but that doesn't mean that they're going to win. I would give France the edge.
Yes.
Seeing them today, and for me, I think today was like a between gear 2 and 3. It wasn't like they were all out, So I think this is where the buck stops. You gotta be real to pass this level.
There are some teams, Eric, you can look at them and say, and Andrew and Shavar and Liam, they won't go further than X stage. Poland, for example, is one of those teams. I don't like teams depending on 1 and 2 players. You can see some teams lacking depth. And based on the draw, the groups they were in, they had probably an easier passage into the round of 16, Eric. This is where it will stop for England, you think? The quarterfinal stage?
I would think so. I think when we look at the individual matchups, which is nice to see, when we see a Griezmann probably go up against a Rice, we see Dembele and Mbappe versus Shaw and Walker. We see Giroud against the centre backs. We see Chouameni now maybe against Bellingham, the 2 youngsters. And when I look at those individual setups, I will give a slight advantage to France. And as Shavar feel both teams have it pretty good, have the substitutions, everything. So I think that individual difference is what sends the English home.
Yeah, France, I don't think, started the tournament, Andrew, on the front foot. And when you think that there was no Pogba, no Kante, no Benzema, Hernandez played the first game and got injured, and how they have progressed from that first game to now, some persons may say they haven't been fully tested as yet. And you said the same could be said for England. So this is going to be the first real test then for either team.
Of course, without a doubt. Both teams, this is going to be the hardest game. And this is the game that will send them into the semi-finals. So it's going to be a very important game. But I told people prior to the World Cup, despite the absence of Pogba, Kante, and Benzema, this French team is deep and loaded with talent. And every game they have improved. They were able to rest 9 people, come back today, and were fresh as a daisy, and sent a message to the rest of the world, we are not giving up our title so easily. You have to come and get us. And right now, the leader of the Golden Boot race is in a good piece of form.
Absolutely. Mbappe has 5 goals so far. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we'll talk about the other match on the day and the other 2 quarterfinal or round of 16 matches set for tomorrow. Come back with us. Welcome back to Final Whistle. And before we took the break, we told you that Raheem Sterling, you would have heard, was not available for today's game. Just getting an update from a colleague in London that he's on his way back home. And that would sound like, I'm not sure if he would fly back to Qatar, but a family issue to sort out back home regarding his house. And we're keeping tabs on this one and hope to get some more information for you very, very soon. So the other game we saw today was France up against Poland. France winning by 3-1. They got a double from Mbappe in the 74th. And in the first minute of time added at the end, 5 goals for him so far. Poland got a consolation, a penalty from Robert Lewandowski in time added on as well. That, in fact, that was the very last kick of the match, and he got a goal there. Remember, he missed a penalty earlier in the tournament. I don't think he's a great penalty taker, but he got a second chance today. What about Olivier Giroud? He scored, and he's now France's leading all-time scorer. 52 goals in 117 games, overtaking the great Thierry Henry. So this game now, Andrew, France outscoring Poland by 3-1. The Poles started out looking as if they wanted to put up some stubborn resistance. But after a while, after that, it really went downhill for them, Andrew.
Well, the Polish coach said before the game that he back home, he's in the round of 16, but it only lasted for 1 game because despite changing his formation from a 3-man backline to a 4-man backline, he could not deal with the torrent of Dembele and Mbappe on the flanks. And of course, the type of movement that a number 9, one of the few number 9s still left in the World Cup, Olivier Giroud, gave today, just showed that France made a statement today to the rest of the world. We are here to defend our title. And it was a very efficient performance by the French team. They look very good in attack. Defensively, they look very sound. Must make mention of Theo Hernandez. came in for his brother, his brother got an injury in the very first game, and he came off the bench. And now he has made that position his own, and he's looking good with every game. The French team is now set, and they are prepared to defend their title.
Yeah, no two ways about that, Andrew. And this double by Kylian Mbappe takes him now to 9 all-time World Cup goals, one more than Ronaldo, and tied now with Messi. And his 5 knockout stage goals now mean only he and Pele have scored that many before the age of 24. Kylian Mbappe is on fire, absolutely, at this World Cup tournament so far. Giroud, Andrew, and you would know this, all of you who are coaches. Coaches sometimes have so much trust and confidence in certain players. Giroud is 36 years old. He may not be put in the category of Henry and some of the other great French strikers, but Didier Deschamps, when Giroud was not getting regular play at Chelsea, at Arsenal, at AC Milan, Deschamps said he has always been in contact with Giroud and says, you're one of my main players. You need to get regular minutes. And we see the trust he has placed in this player.
Definitely. You know, people like Deschamps are from the old school. They like the traditional number 9s, strikers who are clinical, who can finish. And his system really relies on somebody like that to hold up the ball, because a lot of the attention will be focused on the flanks with people like Dembele and Mbappe. But he also needs that point person who can move into space from that center, play with the ball to his back to the goal. And I think Giroud gives him that. He's not a big scorer. He played the entire of the last World Cup and didn't score 1 goal, but he won a World Cup title with the work that he put in. Now it's a little different. He's actually getting goals. And the goal that he scored today showed great movement for him to check in behind and get that goal.
But
he's one of the focal points.
Deschamps choosing him. He would not have played Benzema. And I agree with you, Benzema played the same role.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, the fact of the matter is that there was no Benzema.
And he has granted the opportunity,
and he has taken it by
but I don't
and there was no
believe that
Benzema in the last World Cup.
Exactly.
No, because of all kind of other ways.
And he was a focal point.
But
so
if you would have asked Didier
for the last 4 years.
If you would have asked Deschamps 6-8 weeks ago, do you trust Giroud to be a starting striker? He would have said no.
No, you would say yes.
But he would just not have chosen him.
No, he would have said yes.
What I think he would have said is that for sure he would gonna get some minutes. Huh?
Definitely get some minutes.
Don't know how many, but
definitely
get
when
some
Benzema
minutes.
come off, him get a 10 minutes. Or
But
when
the
the
fact
match
that
secure
Benzema
in the
isn't
third.
here is a situation that
it is
we're
what
talking
it is. You
about
have to work with what you have.
That's exactly the point. Exactly the point.
Listen to me.
Say, I'm just telling you, it's lucky that Benzema got
He's
injured.
lucky? I don't
Divine-
know. He's
divine
lucky. He
intervention.
carried him. He
Lucky,
can't be
Eric.
lucky. He can't
You're
be lucky
marking
if he
hard
carried
today,
him.
Eric.
If Benzema wasn't injured, Giroud would have sit on the bench, right?
But the fact
Yes,
is
but I think he would have gotten some minutes, Eric.
Exactly. So Benzema got injured. So now that's why Giroud pushed forward.
Yes,
And I
but
agree
that
he
is
had a
what
great
it's all
season,
about.
you
Grabbing
know.
the opportunity. It is what it is.
And
Grab the bull by
agree
the
with
horn,
you.
huh?
Can I
But
ask
he
you a
was
question?
Strike while the iron is hot,
He was
Eric.
lucky to have gotten the opportunity.
Can I
and then
ask
he
you-
took it.
can I
Yeah,
ask
I
you-
agree
It is
with
what
you.
he is
Luck
supposed to do,
favors
Can I-
Eric.
the brave.
Of course,
Luck
of
favors
course.
the
Can I
brave.
ask-
What
Enough
are you
don't do
complaining
it.
about then, Eric?
Because you say that he's playing because Deschamps trust him so much.
He does trust
The
him.
So why
coach
didn't
has
you put
said
another
that,
centre
Eric.
forward?
You
Why
haven't
didn't
seen
you-
those
why didn't you
reports?
put
Because
another-
after
and interviews?
Benzema, he's his best option.
Exactly. That is why he's playing.
When-
all right, but
when-
when you look
So
at
why isn't Turan playing then?
Well,
Turan
no,
is a
but
centre
let's
forward
look at
also.
Maguire, right? I
Yes.
say I agree with you. He trusts Maguire because he chose Maguire over Tomori. And I say I would have chosen Tomori over Maguire. But obviously the coach trusts Maguire because he chose him over Tomori. Deschamps did not choose Giroud over Benzema. And both of them are in their 30s. He chose Benzema over Giroud.
He did
Eric,
that,
when
he
he
did that
gets-
the last World Cup.
Eric,
No, but
did-
that was
Eric,
4
listen.
years ago.
And he didn't
when
score a
Eric-
goal and he stuck with him.
No,
Eric,
I'm saying when Benzema
that-
was not selected due to all of the
Eric,
things that were
if
going
Didier
on
Deschamps did not
administratively.
have big plans for
Yes.
Giroud, he would not have been at this World Cup at age
Correct.
36.
Correct.
He was the
Correct.
backup player to Benzema. That's why he brought him to the World Cup.
Exactly.
Eric, it
And-
is
and
what
you
it
need more
is.
than one centre forward.
Exactly.
And the fact of the matter is that Benzema not being there, who is the focal centre forward now for?
Of course, now it's him.
And he has
Exactly.
grabbed the opportunity,
Can I
Eric.
ask you
But
a
if
que-
everybody,
can I ask you a
if
question?
everybody who's French is fit, then he would have been on the bench.
Can I ask you a question?
We have no crystal ball to look through to
Now
know
we're
say
talking
that,
about
Eric.
a coach trusting
Can I
his
ask you a
player.
question? How did the French team, last game when they rested the players, especially Giroud, how did the French team look?
I agree Giroud is crucial, you know, and I will 100% agree Giroud should play. But I'm saying if my star player gets injured, now I have my bench player gets playing time, I don't think that's an issue of me putting all of my trust in the bench player initially. Now I do, because he's injured, and I believe Giroud is the best man for the job because Benzema
And that's
is
what we're
injured.
saying,
And
Eric.
that's
It is what it
Eric.
is.
It is what
Yes.
it is.
Yeah, but
It is what
I look
it
at it
is.
different as a trust.
Oh.
A trust player like Maguire, which I think that is a wrong thing to trust him. He trusted Benzema, which I think was the right thing to do. And then he has a great bench player who can step up at the same level.
And a
I
World
say
Cup
he's happy
winner.
for that.
And a World
And I
Cup
think
winner.
even France should somewhat maybe even be thankful and that they're lucky that Benzema got injured and Giroud now get the chance to play.
Luck
But I
favours
think
I don't
we
think
all
it's,
would agree Benzema would have played.
Lucky, you need depth. If you're to win
Yeah,
the
of course,
tournament, you need
and that's why he brought him for depth, not as a
Yes.
starter.
And if you miss a frontline player, the player who steps in is supposed to step up
I
and
agree.
perform at
Let us
an
look at it
optimal
from
level.
a
But
different
he's a
perspective.
depth player, not a
Spencer.
starter.
If Harry Kane gets injured for the rest of the World Cup, who does England put at centre forward?
The bench player that
the
did
bench?
not get the trust in the beginning.
So who's that bench player?
Maybe Rashford will go there and they say play Rashford
That's
there.
what I'm saying. You
But
have
that's
to
not-
have,
that doesn't mean
I'm
that he
talking
trusted
about
Rashford.
a true sense of a number 9. Other than Benzema, and before Benzema got injured, Giroud shared games with him.
Right.
Whenever Giroud was,
So you say they would have gotten 50% of the playing time if both of
he
them
would have
were
gotten playing time. And the fact of the
And I
matter
think
is
he
not
would have
available.
gotten quite
The fact of the
some
matter is
minutes,
not
I
available
think.
now. He
And
has to use him.
For sure.
Yeah, and I'm talking going by what Didier Deschamps has said. He had big plans for Giroud. Look here now, Poland. I keep talking about these teams that I don't really too fancy. They have a brilliant number 9, Andrew, and an outstanding goalkeeper, but pretty much nothing after that.
If you don't have supply,
Yes.
you can be as brilliant as you want. If you can't get the ball to Lewandowski, he's not going to be the player that you expect him to be. And that's the problem with the Polish team. They have limited quality in the team, and they met their Waterloo today.
Yeah, and it is for that reason why he would have looked so awesome at Bayern Munich and now Barcelona. That supporting cast just not
Correct.
around him,
Correct.
Shavar.
Yeah, most definitely. When you play on teams that all you need to do is turn and finish, make a move and finish, receive the ball in the box head. It's a total different ball game when you're playing with players who can't get you in those positions.
Especially if you're a player like Lewandowski.
Exactly.
If you're a midfield and you're the
Yes.
world-class player, it's a little bit easier to direct the game, even if it's not going right with the cast. But difficult as a striker. Although I do have to say he has some players that I would expect a little more from Zelensky.
I mentioned the Lewandowski and the Chesney, but Glick and Cash, I think, are two pretty
Yeah.
decent players.
And I think
Yeah, Cash did
Milik,
also.
I mean, I think initially he should have been a starter, but I think in the preparation he has not been convincing. But there are players with Champions League quality, with Premier League quality, but I don't think the support really was good enough to use Lewandowski properly.
Yeah, Liam, I asked you about Senegal earlier. You look at the polls now. Lewandowski, certainly this will be his last World Cup, won't it? Given his age at 34. But they have some other young players. If they can get more exposure and improve by the time the next World Cup comes around, if they qualify, Liam, how do you see them progressing from here?
Well, I'd like to see them play somewhere, beautiful, interesting football. I will give them credit today, though. Compared to what I saw in the group stage, they did come out and actually show a fight, attacking-wise, and actually, try to go out and score goals, whereas in the group stage, it was really very bad, so boring and to watch them. But that's just how they've always played. But yeah, I agree with you. When you have a Lewandowski, like such a huge X factor in your team, you have to get the ball to him, and they rarely ever did. It shines a negative light on him, makes him look like he's not having a good career. But at the end of the day, he's a number 9. He's going to need support, and he wasn't getting that. They have the likes of Zielinski, Frankowski, and stuff to support, and they want to set up in a way where they defend and hit on the counter, and it wasn't working for the way that to help Lewandowski. And I just think with that talent and with the supporting cast in Frankowski and Zielinski, who are European players playing Serie A, playing Champions League, they should have gone out and tried to score some more goals and played more attackingly when they have that. So I just think their system isn't really the greatest. Whether or not they'll stick to that, it's not for me to say. But they do have some young talent. Milik is still not young, but he'll probably be around for the next World Cup. So maybe he can take over Lewandowski and they can do something next World Cup.
With Liam, I think their playing style, they should look at that some more, and also bring players in who can, give them more dimension to what they're doing.
They might have to change coach for that. 'Cause I think the coach loves this playing style.
Yeah,
He
that's
embraces
the way he
it more.
plays. He
Yes.
prefers to stay on the back foot, play a low line, counter press and then try to get forward. And
Well,
just do it
again,
enough.
Some coaches are very stubborn, you know. I wonder if any of you here are like
Well, I also think that
I think they
every
all are.
process of hiring a coach, you take into consideration a certain playing style that he will bring, and I think what the Polish Association needs to ask themselves: do we want to have this type of playing style of football going forward? And I mean, maybe they say yes, and they maybe continue with him and try to change personnel or certain things, but. As Liam said, I think there's going to be a lot of persons who might be asking for a switch in playing style and tactical.
Yeah, a few coaches have resigned so far, and we do expect a few more to quit as soon as their team gets knocked out. And it is for that reason why several federations, or a lot of them, structure the contracts of the coaches to end at the end of this World Cup campaign, at whichever stage you make your exit. We're going to look at the other two games coming up tomorrow, round of 16, and we have a break coming up. One thing I want to look at when we come back, in terms of the top players we have seen so far, Messi and Modric have played some excellent football so far. But to me, I think Mbappe, who has 5 goals and leading the Golden Boot race, along with Bellingham, to me, have been the two most outstanding players so far. When we come back from the break, I'll get it from the entire panel as to who they think have been the most outstanding so far in Qatar. Come back with us. Welcome back to Final Whistle. So tomorrow we have got Japan up against Croatia and Brazil against South Korea. But before we get into the preview for those two matches, Andrew, before the break, I told you who I think have been the most brilliant so far. To me, Mbappe and Jude Bellingham. Messi and Modric have played good football as well, and there should be more to come from them. In your take, Andrew, who have been the standouts so far?
The standouts so far for me have been, I would say, Mbappe and Messi. I mean, Messi's last 2 games have been very good. He has come up trumps. He has basically carried Argentina on their back into the quarterfinals, and you know, you have to give him credit. Musiala, also from Germany, despite Germany not qualifying, I was very impressed with him.
Yes, he looked quite
Great
exciting.
young player. Gakpo playing well. And, you know, even Memphis Depay, the last 2 games, he has done a lot of work. But the person that has impressed me the most, and it was a statement game by him today, was none other than Kylian Mbappe.
Shavar?
For me, obviously, Messi, Mbappe. I like what I've seen from Granit Xhaka, Olmo from Spain. Obviously, the 2 youngsters, Pedri and Gabi as well. And, you know, Jude Bellingham. Really, really pushing the elbows up to be a top player in the world.
Yeah, you spoke about Pedri and Gavi, and some youngsters are really standing out at this World Cup, which all the big teams will be queuing up to try and lure them in the summer. Sharon, as far as the outstanding players for you so far are concerned?
No doubt Mbappe and Messi. I think when you have your team, you know, on your back, trusting you to pull one out, and I think Messi really, you know, put the Argentinians at ease, you know, to say, we are 1-up now. We can relax and play our game. He has been that man for them. And Mbappe has been brilliant. When I saw him take 4 touches in the box, nobody going within, and he's just so focused. I'm picking that spot, and the ball is going in.
Yeah.
You know, he is clinical, and you can't ask for more than that. Bellingham, really looking good, and Depay, I think, magical, you know, light up.
Yeah, given
light
that he's
up
coming off
Netherlands.
injury and wasn't getting much playing time at Barcelona. In fact, they want to move him on, so he's coming into his own, yeah.
Yeah, very good.
I agree. Eric?
You know what I like the most? That my fellow analysts are talking it into being, that the pie is going to be great. Because he had a few minutes that he looked very spark. But, you know, if you put him in the rain with Messi, I expect great things. But, no, we talk a lot of players. I want to go maybe in some players that maybe are a little bit under the radar, smaller teams. I think Gvardiol at Croatia and the back line has been really outstanding for Croatia. I thought Chesney, even though they're out now, I thought Chesney had some great moments and some great matches. Casemiro at Brazil might think about a little less, because you have your third match where they switch up the lineup, so just those 2 matches, they don't play the round of 16 yet. But I think in those 2 matches, he was really outstanding for them. Modric, but I think you mentioned Modric. And Morocco is some great players that made it work. I think Amrabat is the one I want to highlight there. The defensive mid that really been an outstanding player, a little more, as I say, unexpected players. But it's been a great World Cup so far. Great World Cup.
You prefaced what you were going to say by saying these are players you think are performing well under the radar. What about the heavyweight players or players who have been brilliant in the spotlight?
Exactly. So Mbappe, of course, stands out. You know, you see the statistics with it. Bellingham, it's lovely to watch him. I look at Gakpo as well from Netherlands. You know, and back to Bellingham, what we were talking earlier. What's amazing is when you have pressure on you, then you perform. And as you mentioned, pressure was somewhat on him to perform at the World Cup at 19, and he performed. It's easier as somebody who goes in the World Cup, nobody expects anything. You feel free, you play great. It's somewhat easy. As a Harry Kane, you go in and you know I'm going to expect goals, but I'm experienced and I've been through this. But as a youngster, 19-year-old, to have the pressure and then still perform, you know, I look at Vinicius Jr. as well. How is he going to do? Because pressure's on him as well. But yeah, it's great play from both the established players and some new ones.
Yeah, let's look ahead to tomorrow now, because we have just a few more minutes to work with. Japan will take on Croatia at 10, Andrew. And in this matchup, look at what the Japanese have come up against so far. Germany, Costa Rica, and Spain. They beat Germany. They beat Spain. Lost to Costa Rica. What is it that we can expect now against the Croats come 10 o'clock tomorrow?
Industry, hard work, discipline. They'll have a good shape. They'll stay behind the ball. They'll counter-press you when they get the opportunity and quickly get behind your defensive line. But it's all out work, and Croatia is in for it tomorrow. I believe that the Croatians have enough quality where they can win the game, but they need to decide the game very early, because this Japanese team, as I've said before, they are built for marathons. They are willing to run for 90-plus minutes, and maybe tomorrow 120 minutes.
Yeah,
so the Croatians have to be very, very sharp.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I mean, from day one, I've been telling you guys about this Japan team, so nothing changes.
Yes.
I mean, this is a team that is willing, and it shows in all their games, to play without the ball, do the extra running, and obviously their coaching staff is doing an immaculate job in terms of the scouting.
So how will the game go, you think? The outcome?
I'll go with Japan.
Japan. Sharona?
I'll go with Japan. They will probably be the fitter and run the most, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
Eric?
They can't get Modric off of him game. Croatia is going to be nice and composed. I might even get a 95th 1-0 or something like that.
Okay, so you think Croatia should prevail. Liam, who will prevail in this one?
I have Croatia. You know, I think they come back fantastic after the last World Cup, and also, so I had like Japan. Losing to Costa Rica, I feel like they're going to come out more attacking against the Croatia side that isn't like a Spain and Germany, and we're not playing in their defensive system. Croatia will prevail over them.
Alrighty, and Brazil will take on South Korea at 2 p.m. The 2 winners tomorrow will meet in the quarterfinals on Friday, and the update we're getting is that Neymar, who injured his right ankle in Brazil's opening match at the World Cup, will train today, and his availability for tomorrow's game will be determined by their medical staff and coach Chiche, who has said if he gets the green light from the medical staff, Andrew, he would like to insert Neymar from the get-go. It tells you how much he values the presence and availability of this player.
I believe that he'll make a cameo appearance tomorrow. They have been working feverishly on him. He has been in the hotel. Sometimes he doesn't even attend training, attend games. I think they have worked on him a lot, and I believe that once he's physically able to go, he will play a part tomorrow. But I believe that this Brazil team is up for the game, and they rested 9 players in their last game in the early rounds, and I believe that they're going to come good again tomorrow.
Yeah, Danilo will also be available, and Alexandro will train today as well, the last report I saw, and a decision will be made by the medical staff and the coaching staff as well. How will this one go, Shavar?
Definitely have to go with tradition. Brazil will advance.
All righty. Sharona?
Brazil is my team. Brazil.
Eric?
Yeah, I think
No
we're
surprises?
similar to Netherlands, France, England, a relatively easy game, Brazil.
Oh, relatively easy.
Yeah, you know, Korea might give a 10-15 minutes, you know, towards the second half where they maybe, you know, look towards a goal or maybe even get a goal. But I expect Brazil in this match to get 2 or 3 goals and control the game from the start.
Oh, Liam?
Yeah, Brazil, but I don't think it will be easy considering how South Korea is set up tactically and that Brazil haven't had any blowout wins yet. So yeah, Brazil will just edge it in my opinion.
Alrighty, so Japan against Croatia at 10 and Brazil up against South Korea at 2. And these 2 winners will meet in the quarterfinal on Friday. This is where we put the lid on this latest edition of Final Whistle. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Spencer Darlington saying come back with us tomorrow. And until then, pleasant viewing.